My name is Arturo Soriano. Welcome back to Victorious Voices. We're here to elevate, support individuals with lived experience, individuals that were once labeled liabilities in their communities, now doing everything in their power to dismantle the school to prison pipeline and build healthy communities. Quote for today: the worst prison you could live in is in fear. Let's start with the check-in. Your name, how you feeling, and if you had one superpower, what would that be?
My name's Melissa. I'm feeling motivated, excited, and really happy to be here. If I had one superhuman power, it would be mind control, but not like mind control of controlling other people. Like that's too much work. But being able to control myself, which is something that I've learned through coping skills, through emotional regulation, to really be able to harness that ability to control my thoughts, control my emotions, control my reality, my experience. For that, with that, I don't have to be sad if I don't want to be. I have self-care, I have social support, I have other skills, other things that I can do so that I don't have to feel that way. So I think, if we have that, if we can all learn that, I wish it was like taught in like grade school, but it's not. But just how to like check in with yourself, see how you're doing, and really like with when it comes to trauma, which is what we're all about here, is healing from trauma and helping others heal too. And that is so important because so many of us are walking around with unhealed, unexamined traumas. We don't have the skills. We have super negative narratives, the what we talk to ourselves about, self-blaming, self-limiting thoughts, all those things. If you allow them to just take over the mind space in your head, that is your reality. You're not going to be able to see what you have to be appreciative over gratitude. We know how important gratitude is in the work that I do. So being able to control your own mind, you get to control your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own destiny. What you put in the work towards accomplishing, you will do, including your own healing.
Thank you. And my name's Arturo. I feel motivated, and if I had a superpower, it would be a magic wand. And this wand would go around to the communities and everybody that's been impacted by trauma. I'd be like, heal,
That'd be nice.
Luis, heal, right? And so that's what that magic wand would do. Speaking of trauma, we've experienced since COVID-19, I feel now we're feeling the aftermath to that. And what does that mean? In particular, with the youth that we're serving, individuals and families, everyone was given a laptop. If you could learn, you could learn. If you can't, you can't. If you're a parent, and if you could teach them, you can. If you don't got technical skills, then sorry. And so we're in this whole digital era where I believe that was part of the aftermath that we're experiencing now. What are we experiencing? We're experiencing cyberbullying. We're experiencing traumas in the schools, incidents, behavioral.
Low self-esteem, people, if you don't have enough likes on that one pic, that one selfie that you posted in the bathroom, then it affects your self-esteem and you have a crappy day.
Everybody's living someone else's life, in
Mhm.
particular on social media, YouTube. I want to belong. I want to be that person. And everyone's walking around with, or walking around like zombies, right? And
Mhm.
it's dictating their lives. That's
Abs
including the adults too. Before we did this podcast, I had my phone, my keys, and hey, just wherever my phone's at, I know I'm gonna come back and get that, right?
Their whole lives now, everything's in it.
Yes, yes. And so, can you introduce yourself and give us some background on who you are?
Absolutely. I'm MelissaGuaderrama. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, licensed here in California, born and raised SD native. I went to school. That was a pretty interesting experience because a lot of people from San Diego never leave. So I went to Penn State and got to experience that, was heavy in research, but really wanted to come back and work with people in this sort of setting. I've always been the kind of therapist that I want to go where I'm needed most. Like to me, I don't want the easy way out. This is mental health and I'm here to help and heal. So that's how I stumbled upon youth empowerment. It not stumbled upon at all. I think it was a calling. There was something was out there. There was magic in the air that brought me here because what I do for you guys, I feel very rewarded in what I do for youth empowerment. So half of what I do here is I'm here to support the staff. So one-on-one therapy sessions. We have lived experience mentors that are credible messengers, but they're credible because they have their own trauma. They wouldn't be as effective at this work if it wasn't for that. But what that means also is that they need more support. I run process groups on a weekly basis, coping skills, talking about reframing situations. What are your self-limiting beliefs? How are you getting triggered vicariously through your mentees because you went through the same thing, and now they're going through it, and you can't help but reflect back on those traumatic memories. And here you are, you're at work needing to be the mentor, so I'm here as that support, to help them kind of learn the coping skills, but just stay regulated because this is hard work, as you know.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, you came to the right organization. Like, we're grateful to have you here, be present, being able to support our staff. They're doing hard work, boots on the ground, 5 days out the week, in schools, after school programs, working with the adult population. And when you're working with this population day in and day out, all those vicarious traumas you talked about, and those individuals are experiencing the complex, acute, and the chronic that goes to that. And so that becomes their trauma. And sometimes that rubs off on the staff members because they have that same shared lived experience and that background. And so I've seen it in action already with the staff because I used to be the so-called therapist, right? I have no license, but everybody would come to me and I try to do my best and support. And I'm a big believer in the therapeutic community and I'm all about traumas, its impacts, and its healing. And so to have you here professionally, being able to support and build and grow and elevate, I've seen it in action, and like my heart warms when they come to me and tell me that, and you know what, Melissa's the bomb. She's making it happen. I feel better about myself. Like, okay, I'm moving forward. Like, I'm gonna do the damn thing, right? And so I'm like, okay,
Love it.
this is working.
Thank you.
Working.
Thank you. That means a lot. And it wasn't chance that I crossed roads with you guys because it feels like I should have been here. I just jumped on in, but you guys accepted me with open arms. I got jumped in at your wedding, and I've been family with you guys ever since. So I d- this I've never felt so appreciated as much as I do, and here, because I know that the work that staff and EYE does is so invaluable, and it takes a toll though if you don't have healthy boundaries, if you don't have coping skills. It can be really hard, and you stand to get re-traumatized, and then that pulls away from the energy that you have to invest back into your mentees. So I'm here to buffer and support, but they're the ones that are doing the work, and working with these mentees one on one. It's amazing what they do. I'm so taken away. Um, on one of my first days when it was one of the trainings, and when I walked in and I got to meet everyone, and then just getting to know them, it makes me I got sad. I didn't tell you about this. I got sad on like my third or fourth day when I was talking to some of the staff, and just really like bonding with them, right? And I was in my car and I was heading home, and I was like, something's wrong with me. My feelings will I think about, like, what is it? I need to get to the bottom of this feeling because I feel super happy to be here. I feel like, this is where I should be. Everyone, is super like friendly, and like they've really taken me in. Like, what is it? And it was that I couldn't fathom what it would have been like life without these mentors that are now at YE, that were locked up, that were lifers, And now it's like I got to see everything that they do before knowing their stories, and I kind of like to do that. I like to go in a little lela, like I don't know nothing, but just because I want it to be, I don't like. I did go on the website and stuff, but I want to get to know people like that. And when I did, that's what I was sad about because they were telling me their stories, and just to know, like, there could have been a chance that they wouldn't have been doing this work and impacting the lives of their mentees in the ways that they do, and just being, like, friendly, loving coworkers here to help out. Like, that it's really sad to think that, the majority of the staff would be locked up right now as opposed to doing what they're doing right now. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. And you're talking about individuals doing 43 years, 30 years, 25 years, 32 years. And that's what we're about. We're about supporting like our participants going into the program and then seeing where they're at. And look, an opportunity to grow if you really want to work with youth empowerment, then guess what? You could be a staff of youth empowerment
Mhm.
because to bring in the healing and the resource to employment is opportunity, right?
Mhm.
And it's something that's sustainable for them as individuals and growing them and them becoming leaders in their community. I'm all about building leadership and then moving out the way, building leadership and moving out the way. And so that's how we empower individuals with lived experience here at Youth Empowerment. Shout out to Sierra Health Foundation for supporting us, and helping us bring in Melissa as a licensed therapist. All the trainings, the harm reductions, the substance abuse. She's been evaluating all our OTP, organizational transformational program, and being able to put that Melissa touch to the curricula, right? And so, uh, how has that been?
It's been amazing. Um, I was thinking back, so my when I started off, I knew I wanted to study psychology when I was in high school because um, I went through my own trauma, and I needed a therapist. So when I saw the value of that, I made that decision. Like I think like my freshman year that I was going to pursue it. So I was in the sciences. I had a mentor myself. I joined his lab, got heavy into the sciences, got to present my research at all these scientific conferences with thousands, 10 thousands of people. And so it was great. But as I progressed through, I was like, okay, I know I'm doing research. My my studies get published, I'm spreading that knowledge, like, but something's missing, and I knew it was getting back to helping people in the one-on-one setting, helping people. We were doing, rodent studies, which looking back on, I don't know how I did that, but shout out to people who do, because it is, we got to know what's substance abuse and drugs, what they're doing to people, and how to help with addiction. But I felt like I was getting further and further from like my life, like calling, which was to help people. So after leaving Penn State, I came back to San Diego, and I got my second master's in counseling psych. And that's when I was like, okay, now I can do the work that I want to do. So I can't help but bring science into everything that I do, and I think, I mean, we're human beings with brains and neurotransmitters and neuronal pathways that get formed through trauma and other things. So if we can pull that into, I think every therapist should be doing that. But if we can understand the stress response, trauma responses, how they alter things, if we can understand that our emotions they're like a cocktail shot of different neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, the feel good stuff. If we have that understanding, then we can do things like self-care, like mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, social support. All There's so many things that can affect our physiology, our biology, so that we can start to feel better, we can start to heal, because we're turning to more, positive adaptive coping mechanisms. So That's the spin that, like, I don't necessarily try to, but I think we all need to understand how to check in with ourselves throughout the day. Like, okay, I just went through, I just went through a stressful morning and it's only noon and I feel like I'm gonna lose it. Like, what do I have to do right now? Go outside and take a walk. Mindfulness. Call a loved one. Watch some comedy on YouTube. Watch some podcasts. Do things in those moments to snap you out of those feelings, those thoughts. And if we let our thoughts control us, then we're tapping into, painful memories, harmful messages from childhood, from trauma, from, people who have treated us in abusive ways. So that's, I think, like, how my spin that I put on it. But one thing that I've realized is that I I'm a healer in my true essence. I'm a healer, but I found a job as a therapist. I've always had that calling. I was bullied when I was young, like, brutally. So I always was looking out for the small guy, for the person, the more vulnerable populations. Like, to me, like, why help people who don't need it, who have everything that they need? I want to help people who, they were abused as children, or they didn't have unconditional positive regard. They, all these struggles, especially in children, the most innocent beings, which the youth that we work with, the majority of them have at least one trauma, if not more. And so, I'm very protective of children. I have two of my own, but I'm protective of all children because they didn't ask to be born, for one. And unfortunately, when there's parents who bring kids into this world, and they're not ready, or they have their own issues, their own unresolved trauma, it trickles into generations and generations. So yeah, that's what I think I bring.
And thank you for that. And so the organizational transformational program, we've been talking about it for 2 years. And so Melissa came on board. We'll be launching next year, 2025. The modules, the trauma informed care code of conduct, credible messenger mentorship, how to engage into the community, communication, organizational culture, and substance abuse. And so this is a platform where everything that you expressed, your experiences as an individual, as a healer, as a therapist, now being able to put that touch to these modules and curriculum where we're going to be training organizations, systems of care, where standards and trainings for corrections certified. So what that means, that will give us access to train police, correctional officers, sheriffs, and probation departments, which would be interesting, right? Because we're gonna have the Melissa individuals with lived experience, and so we're talking about systems that are set in place, right? And they have a structure that's been like that, a system for decades and decades and decades, and for us to be able to go in there and connect and train, and we're hope our hope is that they're healers as well. Our hope is that they're compassionate as well. Our hope is that they take in the curriculum so that they could serve that population with great community engagement, trauma informed practices, they're able to communicate effectively in a trauma informed way, compassion. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy, right? Sympathy is like, oh, okay, I care. It's my job. I'm coming. But empathy, you go down that dark tunnel and you kick it with that individual
Mhm.
and you support and you just listen. So being able to have you on board, it's going on for 2 years. This movement has been going on for 5 years with the trauma informed care code of conduct, the back end, through the Clean Health Initiative. And I remember being at the table having that discussion with leadership from systems and San Diego Foundation, counties. So a lot of that language that's in the trauma informed code of conduct comes from all their meetings, right? And so how could we create systems that are trauma informed, not just the the curricular or the module that's gonna teach you on the impacts of trauma. That's one thing, but how do you put that system together in place? What's the 6 step strategy that's going to help you as an individual, as an organization, beginning from the top on down, beginning from the system, the policies and procedures as an organization, from the board to the executive to the staff. Everybody has to be in agreement, right? And so that's the culture that we have here at Youth Empowerment. You come into the office, it's live, it's vibrant. Even if you come in on a bad day, right? And you're feeling yourself because whatever, then you come in and then
Yeah.
you get alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that culture, we're able to best serve our population
Because we're trauma informed.
because we're
Because we know that, people go through shit, you have bad days, and if you try to walk in there with a sad attitude, someone's gonna pick up on it. They're not gonna let you get away. We're gonna do a round table, we're gonna do a circle around it. Like, what was it? And by the time you leave, yeah, it's like unacceptable.
it's unacceptable. Rachel comes in the other day with the like, right? I'm like, what's going on? Like, on just one of them days. Like, okay, what we're happy. I don't want to talk about it. No, I'm gonna come together. I'm gonna sit you down and we're gonna have some effective communication and we're gonna figure that out.
Yeah.
And the persistence on my end, in 5-10 minutes, she was feeling better about herself.
Social support, and that's what process group is for too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you went into the YMCA the other day, right? And so how was that experience for you?
It was good. Yesterday we talked about, so the topic right now is behavior. So again, I always try to put the science spin on things. So I brought the 4F, so fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So we all know fight, flight. We know those responses, those stress responses. The newer ones, freeze, and the newest, fawn, based on the research, all empirically backed up. But these are the 4 stress responses that I wish we all could understand, because when you get to tens, when out of 10 in, so fight, flight, we know those stress responses. We know they've been around. We understand what they mean, but the 2 newest ones are freeze and fawn. And so understanding these 4 stress responses for the youth too is so super important, because, like, if they have gotten into trouble, if they've made some mistakes, the majority of the mistakes I think that we make when we like lost it is when we're at those 10 out of 10 in those 4 stress responses. What's important to realize, and what we were talking to the kids about too, is like, if you ask yourself, when you're stressed, do you recognize how your breathing is? Like, if it changes or what happens? We probably don't, because we're in here, and we're not tapped into what our body's doing, but we don't breathe the same. We don't breathe correctly. A lot of times we're holding our breath, our muscles are tense. And when that's happening, we're cutting off oxygen and blood flow to our brains. You do that, then your prefrontal cortex, which in the youth that we serve all the way up until 24, because the prefrontal cortex doesn't fully form until 25. And so it's already underdeveloped in youth. Okay. It's developing. And so if we cut off that circulation, that's where you make your decisions. You're not going to be able to make the correct decisions when you're in that zone. So if we can all understand why coping skills and why self-care, it's important, because you don't want to have to go to a 10 unless it is life or death, right? But you also have to know, like, the freeze response, for example, deers caught in headlights, a lot of them get run over. Um, but we have to, if we don't stop ourselves before we get to that 10, we're going to end up either choosing a stress response that's not appropriate for that situation. For example, you don't want to freeze when you hear gunshots completely, right? You got to get out of there. Right? So we have to, going to a 10 isn't good, because we need if we need to get to like an 8 or a 9, we need to be able to stay there, so we don't completely lose that ability to decipher, is this really truly unsafe, or is it emotionally unsafe? And if it's emotionally unsafe, then we can work on those emotions. But you first have to be able to do the breathing and all that. So we went around. We some of the youth shared some of the mistakes that they feel that they've made when they were at a 10, and we kind of opened up, talked about it, and shared like what could you have done instead of doing that thing that got you in trouble or doing that thing that got you arrested. What are some things you could have done that would have made your path less difficult than it ended up being because you didn't use skills in that moment and you got there?
I'm going to give a narrative example. I'm not going to name the school. And so we're at this school and we're there for a peace treaty to have a conversation with some leadership. So it could be identified. So there could be some type of treaty in the school, peace in the school, peace in the school, better education that trickles down to the community. And then when they see one another out there, there's no conflict. So there's conflict resolution into that process. So we're in this meeting. And so there's five of us, about 10 kids, and there's this kid that is just moving, grooving, impulse. You can see the impulse like there, the
Fancy.
here, angsty, and he grabs the phone that's there. So we weren't able to see him at that point. And so he dials 911, right? And so here comes the staff, like running in, like who? And I'm like, that wasn't us, but that phone was there. And so he admitted to it. And so that gave me the opportunity to identify and work with them. Why are you feeling so anxious? Like, what was the impulse control that you experienced right now?
Mhm.
What did you go through to make that decision? Right. And then when he did it, he wasn't thinking about it. He
Right.
just did it.
Mhm.
But that gave us the opportunity to really build and talk about the life decisions and coping skills and what you're gonna do in the future, or do you feel remorse for doing that? And so it gave us that platform to do that.
And you were able to do that because you're trauma informed, trauma sensitive, spirits that you're so you picked up on like that was different. Like I wonder what made him do that. And then once you dug into that, so what stress response out of the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, which one was activated for him?
Flight,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Come get me. Come get me out of here. I need
hey, not call 911,
Mhm.
call the fire department, like whoever. I need to get the hell out of here, right?
I need a faster, I need a praise.
Crazy.
Yeah, right. So in that moment, like his prefrontal cortex was shut off because pumping with the adrenaline, cortisol, the got to do something right now. So he sounds like that's a trauma response when you can't decipher between safe and unsafe. So he felt so unsafe, and it was a peace treaty just by like the name of it. It sounds
That-
pretty safe.
it's safe, but it's uncomfortable because you're being
Correct.
uncomfortable because you're bringing in different ideas and perspectives on how individuals are seeing things. And we're talking about peace into the school, but both sides, both populations have a different way of looking at it.
Absolutely. So the key word right there that you said was he felt uncomfortable. So when you've experienced trauma and like the way you're wired is to pick up hypervigilant, like everything is a threat, everybody is a threat. Don't trust people. They're full of shit. They'll hurt you, they'll harm you, they're not, they don't care about you. And so then that develops into a trauma, into not your alarm bells going off for things that are uncomfortable, but not life or death.
Yes.
But you're over here using life or death skills and tactics when your girlfriend just got in an argument with you, or she's, even if she did break up with you, like you're not gonna die. She's not. But
That's a whole nother podcast.
that is a whole. And I watch too much Snapped, too much of Lifetime Movie Network.
So thank you, Melissa. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you here at Victorious Voices. it's we're grateful, the whole staff, for having you here at Youth Empowerment. We support you, we love you, and you've been a great asset, like great community member to come in and uplift and elevate these individuals with lived experience. So now we're gonna do a check out your name, how you feeling, and how do we not live in fear in this big prison of fear? How do we do not live in fear?
Hmm. Melissa, I'm feeling accomplished and sh- mind control. Control your own mind, control your own thoughts. Even, you know, whatever those fears are, tapping into them and asking yourself, are they realistic fears? Do I have anything to back that up with evidence that that's really a threat? Or is this something that I'm just taking as uh, something to be afraid of when I'm safe and I have ways to protect myself? So if you're able to do that, and of course, healthy boundaries, self-care, self-love, then you can overcome your fears.
Mm. Thank you. My name is Arturo. I feel peaceful, and in life, I either accept something, I reject it, or I suspend judgment in everything that I do. And so a lot of the times, if I don't have the facts and I just suspend judgment, and someone, I just suspend
Mhm.
it and don't make a decision. And so that way I'm not in the mix of the discussion and I'm accepting something that might not be a possibility. I always big on research. Like me and my son Joshua are like that a lot. Like someone will throw out facts allegedly, and then, well, let me do my research on it. Let me,
Checkers.
yeah, fact checkers, right, and see if that's true or not. Always a great support system, having someone that you could count on when things are going haywire. I believe in the art of therapy. I myself, I've had a therapist, and I'll check in with them every now and then. And right now, I'm not, but then there comes that time where, okay, I need to connect with a therapist. Let me connect with a therapist so I could have that safe conversation. And so those are things that have worked for me. I already lived in prison most of my life. I'm not trying to live out here in fear in the outworld community in prison. So thank you, everybody that's were present. We'll see you next time on Victorious Voices.